Hey guys, so in this video we are going to talk a little bit about my mindset around front-end development, JavaScript and CSS. So let's get into it. Now, for the juniors out there, I would like you to know something. And that is that JavaScript and CSS are among the most disliked, feared, hated, call it whatever you want, technologies in web development. The reason why this is because it is extremely tricky to do a few things, a few select key things, or maybe it's more because working on the backend and the server has a few luxuries that you don't really get on the front end. Just let me walk you through this mindset. You see, a lot of the coworkers that I've had over the years, and well, not just coworkers, friends, people I've just met and talked to, a lot of them have what I call one of two mindsets. Either they don't really care so much about it, like to them it's just, kind of make it work. JavaScript is what JavaScript is. They don't really like it. They don't really like CSS either. It's just, it is what it is, kind of that type of mindset, right? And generally these are the sorts of people who you will find at almost any given company. And then you have the sort of people who really dislike it, who can't actually do it, or who actively fight the responsibility of contributing, or like they're just avoiding it at all times possible if they can. I'm looking at you, Mark. One of my old coworkers he said something along the lines like, I hope that I will always do the front-end stories, and hopefully I will fuck up so bad that they don't want me to do it anymore. And that's a great strategy to avoid that sort of thing. So, what I want to talk to you about is the mindset that I applied, because I started out the same sort of way. I went through the same sort of pain that everybody goes through when they try to get good at JavaScript or CSS, for example. And for me, the hardest part was absolutely CSS, to get that right. I felt like I fucked up all the time. I could never get it to do what I wanted. It was easy at small scale. Usually it is. But once you get to a certain point, when things start to scale up and there's more complexity, everything just falls to shit. It falls together, right? You can't really maintain it. And the thing is that I can't really explain it. But instead of going, like my mind didn't go, oh, this is horrible, I don't want to do this. And I didn't push it away. I simply embraced it and said, all right, this is really tricky. But come on, I've done plenty of things that are tricky. I've learned things that were really, really tricky, at least from my perspective. And I've worked much harder to learn things that are much more complicated than this. I should be able to do this. And so I committed and said to myself, I will learn how to do this well, and kind of churned through it. And over time I started learning these small tricks, if you will, that made it very bearable. And today I feel like I don't really writing CSS well, or depending on your definition of what is good CSS, if you will, I don't really feel I don't fall into one of those categories anymore. I feel like I can actually do things well and keep them maintainable over time. And that brings me to the final point, and that is you have the sort of people who are what I call love front end. And this is where I want to be. This is where I'm not saying I don't want to be the person who loves front end. I want to be something in this genre of person, because the people in my experience who are really good at front end development and UX and so forth, they are great at what I like to call, not the wrong thing, but just let me walk you through it. So I meet a lot of, these are usually younger people, younger developers. They are usually more UX and user experience focused sort of people. And I think that's great. I think it's great that we have these sorts of people. But what makes me a little bit worried is that it's almost as if they simply enjoy doing front-end development in JavaScript and so forth. because it allows them to work with the user experience. They are more focused on the user experience as opposed to the quality of the project itself. And that's where I am. And that's exactly the sort of developer that I am. I try to, how can I put this in a good way? So most of the people that I work with that have my sort of job title, they will call themselves front-end developers, but they are primarily focused on creating good user experiences, interfaces, and so forth. And that is absolutely part of what it is to be a front-end developer. But what I want to urge you is to be the sort of person who simply wants to write good software, because that's the thing I think is lacking in front-end today. Most front-end developers have the ability to make something look nice, but they still have the same issues as what the back-end developers or the people who don't really like front-end are complaining about. It's just that they mentally don't care. It's almost like a back-end developer who's trying to do front-end doesn't like it because it's so hard to get the code right. But a front-end developer, they don't care about messy code, so it doesn't bother them. Do you see the difference? They still have the same problems as the back-end developers, just that it doesn't bother them. And that's what I want to break. I want to break that trend. That's all I want. I just want to be able to write good JavaScript. That has been my goal. That is my desire. I want to be the sort of front-end developer who can maintain in a sustainable way a big JavaScript code base and CSS and all that stuff. And that's the mindset I've had so far. And it's working out fairly well and it's actually interesting because I've found that has actually been more beneficial for me and my coworkers and my project than being overly focused on UX. Now, UX is actually a big part of it, but for the most part, I work with designers and other UX-oriented people who have the ability to make something beautiful, but they don't really know how to take care of the code base. And that is what I've been arguing for quite a long time. The true challenge of JavaScript development is actually not to get the thing working. That's the easy part. The hard part is to do it in a sustainable way. That's the truly difficult thing about front-end development. So what I want you to take away from this is that I can swear to you, it is possible to write sustainable, well-maintainable JavaScript and CSS. It's all possible, but it requires a lot of dedication, and it's very tricky to learn all the things you need to know in order to do so. And I hope that you will join me and try to become the sort of developer who can prove to everybody else that you can actually make JavaScript a really nice language to work in. Have a great day.